Resuming live from Batongaville.
What's happening, Wayne?
Batonga, and Batongaville.
Greetings, wrestling purists. Hutch Henry's here, and I gotta tell you, there's a crisis in wrestling. Crisis on Infinite Earth style crisis. We need to look into the different possibilities and directions that we could have gone in 2025. And when I watch some of my favorite podcasters out there, some people think that this is a shit year. This is a boring year. And I don't know how you can say that. Some guys are saying that 2025 is one of the worst years for wrestling in the last 4 or 5 years, as far as excitement, as far as follow-up, and as far as, predictability. Man, WWE has been a little bit predictable. But then I'm like, hey, this is the Cena heel turn year. Like, what are you talking about? How can this be boring? That wasn't predictable. And the fact that The Rock abandoned everything, that wasn't predictable. We all thought he was going to show up. We're all pissed off that he didn't. And Travis Scott, that wasn't very predictable. It was shit, but it wasn't predictable. And it certainly wasn't boring. We all were talking about it. To some degree, they are correct. I've found a lot of stuff to be very predictable. Night of Champions was very predictable. Stuff is very predictable. I think it's predictable that Sami Zayn's going to win the Rumble and he's going to go on to Mania and win the championship. And there's a good chance that Seth is going to cash in at some point. But how he gets there and takes it off Seth Rollins, who will probably be the world champion at that time, not sure about that. Could it be Gunther? Could it be CM Punk? Could it be Punk beating Gunther and then him taking it from Punk? Could it be, who knows what could go on? Could it be Goldberg winning it and him taking it from him? Who knows? There's a lot of ways that we could go. And which is why I like the whole Crisis on Infinite Earth, Wrestle Crisis approach here. So we might end up starting like a podcast like that. Very Adam Blampier style podcast of let me have a go. But let's talk right now about the crisis of The Rock and The Rock not being around. And what I mean by crisis and Crisis on Infinite Earth is the fact that you take what exists and you figure out how to change it and add narrative to it and look at your canon that is currently existing and how do you twist stuff to make it work now. There's nothing we can do about the fact that The Rock didn't show up at Mania. There's nothing we can do about the fact that The Rock says, I don't think I need to be involved with this. There's nothing we can do about the fact that John Cena's reason for turning heel is the fact that the fans are dicks and you all took me for granted. And yay Cena, boo Cena, all that stuff. That's the reason? Dysfunctional relationship? You're mad at the kids? You're mad at the fans? I don't know. I have, since day one, since he came out and started doing his reasonings for why he's being the way he's being, I've thought it was absolute shit. I've always thought it should be like an Illuminati style behind the scenes, Hollywood thing. He's in Hollywood. The Rock's in Hollywood. Travis Scott is a top-selling artist, a money man. Behind, we're talking like Diddy Party kind of stuff, behind the scenes. Like the people that don't have the talent always make it to the top because they're the ones, dressing up like bunny rabbits and doing snuff films and weird stuff like that behind the scenes. Are we going to cut that? Maybe we'll cut that. I don't know. But I'm assuming that you understand where I'm coming from. But how do we wrestle crisis this back into validity? Well, The Rock doesn't have to be there. If The Rock really is the head of the snake, if The Rock really is the most important guy in wrestling and John Cena is selling his soul to The Rock and doing his bidding and he's has more shares in TKO than anybody and he's running, he's the new Vince McMahon. He's running WWE behind the scenes and he's a worldwide international superstar, 500 million. That's what he said to Cody right in the ring. How many followers you got on Instagram? Rock has 500 million, Cody. And just like Dr. Dre, he's not too big to listen to the rumors. He's just too big to pay attention to them. The Rock doesn't need to move for anybody. He's a mountain. He's a monolith. He's that big oxen in the middle of the road that everybody has to wait to move. We're not all Crocodile Dundee. We can't all go like... Jesus! The ox moves when the ox wants to move. The bull, the Brahma bull. There we go. I can't believe I missed that one. The bull moves when he wants to move. So he doesn't need to be there. He can wait all the way until Cena decides to turn face slowly. I mean, we saw it happening here with him second guessing using the title belt and maybe even shaking CM Punk's hand even though he gave the look to the camera, which is more lazy booking. God, so much interference, so much repetitive stuff happening and so much predictability happening. But we won't get into that here. But the fact that The Rock is so big and so important is why he doesn't need to show up. And when Cena starts to slowly turn face, which I guess he would have to do with only 16, 17 appearances left, it's going to have to happen, right? I'm not looking for a Cody double turn thing at SummerSlam or anything either. Cody has fought his whole life to get here. I don't think he needs to be a heel yet. But it's The Rock shows up then. He's like, hey, you were my figurehead. You sold your soul to me. You are The Rock. Like, what did he say to Cody? I want you to be my something, my representative. I want you, whatever he said. Now, obviously, Cena is that for him now. So now he can come back and be like, hey, what was with this second guessing yourself and not cheating? And like, you lost the belt. You lost everything. Like, you lost your edge by any means necessary. Isn't that what we agreed? You're my freaking guy. You sold your soul to me. That's when The Rock can come back and make a big deal out of it. And maybe then we get Cody Rock for next year, or somehow they incorporate Roman into this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about that a little bit more if we're gonna wrestle Crisis this. Maybe make an official like bulletin, bullet points, script the whole thing out and figure it out. This will be my first time doing the Infinite Crisis thing here, the possible futures. But this is the possibility. This is how you take the shit you've been shoveled and you turn it into a shit sundae, something that's a little more palatable. Maybe a little bit of whipped cream on that. But, I think WWE needs to wake up and smell what they're shoveling. And we need The Rock, and we need a better reason for Cena having spent the entire year of his retirement tour hating on fans and wanting to destroy wrestling just because he's, like, butthurt over people booing him or something. Like, I don't get it. It needs to be more intense than that. And I feel like that's the excuse. That's the facade, right? They can still come out with the real reason. And it could just be manipulation. It could be money. It could be, wanting to be part of the huge Hollywood elite. The James Gunn, the Superman, the movies. He wants it all. He wants it all, and he wants it now. And he's sick of these fans, and he's sick of wrestling, and he's sick of bumping, and he's sick of the fickle, and he's sick of not being taken seriously because he's a pro wrestler. And even though it's the longest running entertainment medium weekly, going of all time, episodic, and even though the fan base is massive, and even though wrestling is so unique as far as athleticism, the combination of athleticism and acting and tenaciousness, and I could go on and on and on. You want to be an advocate for wrestling? You're listening to this podcast still, or this video still, you're obviously an advocate for wrestling too. But him being like, hey, I don't want that anymore. I want this. I want what The Rock has. And if I gotta kill the beast to do it, like what's Kylo Ren? Like, oh my God, get rid of the past, kill it. Like, fine. That could be the reason. Because this whole you fans suck, that sucks. That's really sucks. I mean, give me a break. So they can bring it all back around at SummerSlam in some fashion. And I think that's what it has to be. It has to be The Rock coming back and being like, hey, you failed me. And him taking over and being the head of the beast again. Or bringing in someone else that sells their soul. I still think the most shocking version of the new sold soul could be Jey Uso. Especially if he comes back to support like his brother and Fatu and Roman, and we get like some kind of War Games thing going on with, Roman, Fatu, and the two Usos against the new bloodline, Solo and Tala Tonga and the other Tongas and the Tonga. And of course, Jeff Cobb. JC Mateo just seems so neutered. He seems so small and squat and like useless. And he's such a beast in New Japan. Oh my God. And I bet you if you put him down in AAA in some of those events, he would do really well. But man, on Raw, as part of the bloodline, he seems to be fizzling. Poor guy. At his age and being so small that he looks on TV. Anyways, I think that's going to be your, one of your Survivor Series type things here. But Jey Uso being the new guy to turn heel, be part of The Rock's family. I mean, he's kind of part of the bloodline, right? The Rock is part of the whole Samoan dynasty. You can't keep the Yeet thing going forever, although, man, he was probably the most over guy on Monday Night Raw. Like, he got the biggest reaction when he finally came running down to the ring to help guys. Certainly knows how to run down to the ring, unlike Penta. He's like dancing his way down to the ring. Way to go, buddy. But hey, that's what I think about that. I think The Rock needs to come back. The Rock needs to be like, hey, you've disappointed me when Cena finally turns face. Or something needs to come out where the cat is out of the bag and we realize that Cena really has been bought. Lock, stock, and barrel. something to bring The Rock back around, and the reason he wasn't around is because, dude, he doesn't have to do anything for anybody. He's that important that WrestleMania was meaningless to him. And if you're going to have any kind of major shocking heel turn happen in the next period of time, I don't think it should be Cody. It should be Jay. If I add another 2 minutes onto this podcast, onto this video, I'll do another video on this again in the future. But, dude, of course, Cody won King of the Ring, and there's no way Cody should go heel. Randy Orton could go heel again, and we don't hate Randy when he goes back and forth because we love Randy, but he can go heel because he's been handed everything. He didn't have to scrape and claw for respect and recognition. He had the body, he had the look, he had the height. He was given the in with his family. He was in that first class with Cena and Brock and all these guys, best of the best, Sheldon coming up from OVW. He's had multiple injuries and multiple violations of code, of the wellness policy and things like that. He keeps getting given second chances, third chances, fourth chances, whereas Cody had to scrape and claw for respect, and his family didn't respect the Rhodes name and his brother, the way he was dressed, and Stardust, and going out on his own and coming back and being the Homelander style champion that he is now. He has come into his own. He has fought and clawed and scraped to be the face of the company, the altruistic baby face on top of his mountain that he built, his own mountain. And there was no reason for him to go heel. He can lose, he can get screwed over, he can even get booed, but this is what he has scraped and clawed for. There needs to be more storyline behind it before there's a heel turn. And I think when he was on with Van Vliet or somebody recently, he even said, I'll probably turn in a couple of years. And I think that's the right way to go. Certainly not now. But speaking of right now we're going to wrap this up. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll do another podcast on my opinion of Cody's possible heel turn in the future. But as of right now, I think The Rock needs to come back and let us know that he's only back to tell us that he doesn't need to come back because he's that goddamn huge and immovable. And then it doesn't matter if he ever comes back again. Does that make sense? No, probably not. He's the head of the snake. He's the emperor. You got to deal with Darth Maul and Darth Tyrannus and Darth Vader and a lot of people until the emperor has enough interest to give you the time of day. He's like Galactus. It's like you got to be a pretty loud fly. You got to be a pretty annoying gnat for Galactus to notice you. And that's what The Rock needs to be. He needs to come back and let us all know, I'm not showing up when you think I should be showing up. I'm goddamn Galactus. You're lucky I'm even here today. And thank you very much for being here today and enjoying the whole video. Insert pre-recorded message. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next video.
And Batonga Bill.